Do I need to switch specialties? Do I need to go travel nursing? Do I need to go back to school? What do I need to do? So let's fast forward back to 2017. That's when I first graduated nursing school. I became an RN and I got into my first job and I hated it, y'all. I hated my first job. I know I didn't go through all that hard schooling for this to be my first job. Not to talk bad about my first job, I just didn't like it. I think I just wasn't expecting nursing to be that way. A few months after I started my first RN job, I started to think of plans of what I was going to do, just because I didn't see myself at that job for a long time and I knew that I couldn't do floor nursing forever. So I was thinking of plans like, okay, do I need to switch specialties? Do I need to go travel nursing? Do I need to go back to school? What do I need to do? Being a new nurse, I knew that experience was key. So although I hated my first job, I stayed there for a year. I knew that it was going to get me into some other opportunities that I wanted to do. And so I held it down, y'all, stayed there for a year. And then I went travel nursing, and then I also decided to apply for Nurse Practitioner school. So y'all, I was right on it. I wasn't wasting any time because I'm like, this can't be my life. I wasn't wasting any time. I'm like, let's get it done. And so I did a few contracts after that. This is all while I was in MP school. Thank God the first half of my MP school was online. So I was able to still do travel nursing and do my classes online. I definitely recommend travel nursing if that's something that you're looking into. Of course, you get paid more, so that's a benefit. That's another way to level up in your career. You get more experience. And then also, I feel like you can gain confidence in your skills because being a travel nurse, you have to be very independent. A lot of times you may not have good help at different hospitals, so you have to be really confident in your skills and stand tall in who you are as a nurse. As I was nearing the end of MP school, I had to come back home because I had clinicals and I had to make sure I had a preceptor, and so I decided to do a local contract at that time. That's another option if you're in a nursing field. You can do local contracts. You don't have to travel all across the country. You can do contracts that are in your state. You can do contracts that are in your same city. You may not get paid as much, but you will get paid a little bit more than an actual staff position, and you should have more freedom of time as well. So after that, I graduated from MP school, and thank the Lord for travel nursing because I was able to take a whole month off of work to do nothing but study for my boards. So I was able to take off that month, study for my boards, I passed my boards, and boom, I became a certified family nurse practitioner. And so although this is all summed up in just a few minutes, this was 2 to 3 years of hard work. And so I learned so many things throughout that process, and I just want to share a few with you, just in case you're trying to pivot into a new specialty, pivot into a new career, go back to school. These tips should definitely help you in your next career change. The first tip I will give you is to not be afraid of change. I know sometimes we can get into a place where we're comfortable. Our job, even though we don't like it, is comfortable. We know what to expect. There's not much change, but you have to remember, if you're comfortable, you're not growing. So you have to pick your poison. Either you want to be uncomfortable and you want to grow, or you want to be stagnant and you want to be comfortable. Which one? You got to pick which one you want to do. You can't have both. And so you have to step outside your comfort zone and stretch yourself and just welcome change, because with change comes elevation, with change comes leveling up, with change comes growth. So don't be afraid of change. A lot of times when you change careers, you'll find that you will gain more income. So if you stay at a job for a few years, you notice that you don't really get a lot of raises, especially in this economy. Jobs are really not giving out raises like that anymore. So you are really being underpaid if you stay at certain companies for years on end. But if you change your job every so often, you can leverage your experience at those previous jobs to negotiate a higher salary. So not only does change bring growth, but it can bring higher income. It can also bring more experience. So if you change specialties or you change jobs, now you can place those previous jobs on your resume. You look more well-rounded. You look like you have a lot of experience in different areas, and you're able to leverage that as well. When you're open to changing positions, you also can find your interest in different areas. So specifically with nursing, if you are changing specialties, you may find that you like a specialty more than your previous specialty. And that may be your home. You may find that, hey, I love labor and delivery. I'm going to stay here forever. I hated med-surg, but now that I'm in labor and delivery, I feel like this is something that I'm comfortable with. So you never know what change can bring about. And hey, I get it. If you're in a position and you're like, hey, Angel, I can't change jobs, I can't just hop up and change specialties, there are other resources out there. So there are no excuses. You can go on YouTube, you can go on TikTok, just research the specialty that you're interested in, research the career or the school that you're interested in, and see what other people are doing. You know, do they have a day in a life video? Do they have tips to help you? Are there different supplies you need when you go to this different specialty? There's a plethora of resources out there. So make sure that you leverage the internet, of course, but also don't use that as a crutch. Don't say, hey, because I can't change jobs, you know, I can't do anything. I can't make a change. Like, no. There is so much information out here that you can leverage. There's so much information out here that you can research. So don't use that as an excuse. The good thing about researching online is that it doesn't really cost you anything. You can research these different specialties for free. You don't have to switch jobs. You don't have to hop up and move. You don't have to, you know, change locations. It's a free resource to you. The next tip I would give you is to be strategic. So when I did decide to go ahead and apply to NP school, I made a plan. So I had a plan on when I was going to apply, when I was going to request my transcripts. You know, I had down when I was going to pay my tuition. I had everything down. So you have to have a plan. The Bible says, write a vision and make it plain. So you have to do the same thing. Not only is this going to help you organize everything, but it's going to help keep you accountable. There are a few things that I think your plan should include. First, it should have some type of timeline. So you should have steps for maybe weekly things to do, things you need to do monthly. If there's a due date that's 2 weeks out, you need to make sure that you have that in your plan already. So your plan should also include actionable steps, things that have verbs in them, y'all. So what are you going to do? I don't want anything vague. I'm talking about, I'm going to apply on this date. I'm going to reach out to this preceptor on this date. I'm going to reach out to this reference on this date. It needs to be time sensitive and it needs to be actionable. The last but most important tip involved in making a plan is to give God room to edit that plan. I know a lot of times we can be very focused on the plan that we have set forth, but God has the ultimate say so. If something doesn't go as planned, that's okay. Allow God to come in and help you pivot to the next thing. You know, it's okay to have a plan, but at the same time, remember God has the final say so. The next tip I would give you is to network. So once you have your interests, you have your plan down, what you're gonna do, I think networking is a great step. Now, I believe networking should start at the very beginning, but there is a benefit to networking once you have a plan in place, because now you have a particular audience that you're trying to reach. So if you know that you're trying to get into NP school, maybe I need to join an organization focused on NP students or focused on nurse practitioners. You know, if you know you're trying to get an RN school, maybe I should join an organization for RN students. And so it just kind of helps you zone in on where exactly you need to network, and that way you're being efficient. Networking can really open doors for you. A lot of times knowing people helps open up a door before your education does. So if you know someone that knows someone, they can probably help get you that job better than your resume. So keep that in mind. Just make sure when you're going to work, when you're at these organizations, that you're approachable, that you are having conversations with people, because you never know who could help you get your foot in the door somewhere. Next tip is to make sure you execute your plan. So we can make plans all day, but if we don't actually follow through, then it's for nothing. Make sure that your plan is realistic. That way you can actually execute the steps. So this could look like actually applying for the job, applying for the school, reaching out to the mentor, reaching out to the preceptor, you know, editing your resume, updating your resume, getting a new software. These are the actionable steps. These are things that you are actually executing. You're walking them out. And this is actually the fun part for me. I love executing a plan because I'm able to see it coming to fruition, and that's so exciting to me. So make sure that you are executing and you are acting on the plan that you put in place. Because if you don't act on the plan, you're never going to get to where you want to be. So you have to execute. So the last thing I would say is to be patient. Give yourself grace. Realize that these goals, sometimes they can take years to achieve, and that's okay. Keep in mind your end goal. That's going to help you get through those tough times. So those tips really helped me to be in the position I am and to be the nurse practitioner that I am today. I would love to hear down in the comments below, what are you doing to level up in your career? And if you're a nursing student or if you're in a nursing field and you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or in the comments. I would love to hear from y'all. But I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.